Hello, and I have the pleasure of being here with Kevin Caldwell, who just recently wrapped up with the panel here for the Positive Community. Kevin, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
During the panel, you actually brought up a number of great points that are in correlation to retirement, since you actually administered and thankfully went through early retirement yourself. What were some of the kind of goals that you had to meet in order to achieve early retirement?
Well, particularly, I think that most important for me was trying to plan exit strategy from the business as well as real estate management, because sometimes, you build things to a certain level, and if you haven't planned succession, you have to plan a way out. So for me, planning exit strategy, and I'm currently still doing that, is most important.
What do you feel would be your biggest words of advice to those who are actually getting their start, whether it be if they're in entrepreneurship or if they're in an established company and they're trying to figure out exactly what the next steps are for retirement for themselves? What would be your best advice to them?
Well, I think succession planning is very important in that if you have built a company, you have to understand, first of all, the life cycle or the season of the company that you're in. And if you're clear on what your goals and desires are, then you can plan again how to either pass the company on, plan succession, or at the same time decide, what's your next step in life. Because for me, I had to determine whether I wanted to stay in construction or move to a different career. My choice was a different career.
And last but not least, one of the best points that you brought up in the panel was the fact that you do not deem yourself fully retired. You consider yourself semi-retired. So beyond the land of golf, to those who consider themselves in semi-retirement as well, what words of advice would you give to them to continue to build their wealth?
Well, I think that retirement is a very tricky word. And for me, particularly, I think that planning retirement really, for me, revolved around my children's college education, and I decided, when I was young that, my strategy when my children were about done with college, I should be planning what's going to be my next move, because then I'd be an empty nester. So I think that, for me, thinking and creating beyond where you are. I had to create almost a reinvention of myself, and I'm working on a new book called It's Yours, Finding the Inner Peace You Need to Grow, which will be available through the Key Institute in December of this year. And writing for me has been very rewarding, and it's liberating me into a different environment that I hadn't thought I could be comfortable in, but it really is nice.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out for this interview, and before we let you go, how can we actually find out more information about your book?
KeyInstitute@gmail.com.